Chalice lighting. 3, 2, 1. I invite those of you at home to light a chalice, a candle, or whatever you choose to serve as your chalice at home. The following was adapted from the Black Lives Matter About page. We are expansive. We affirm the lives of Black, queer, and trans folks, disabled folks, undocumented folks, folks with records, women, and all Black lives along the gender spectrum. We are working for a world where Black lives are no longer systematically targeted for demise. As we light this chalice, we affirm our humanity, our contributions to this society, and our resilience in the face of deadly oppression. Please join the reading of the unison affirmation. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak our truths in love, and to help one another. Member reflection. 3, 2, 1. I wrote what I am about to read at 2 a.m. on June 2nd. I wrote it to the rest of my executive team at work, who are all white. I've made a few edits and updates since that date. I haven't really known what to say, but I want to offer my perspective on recent events as a Black and brown person in America. This is simply what I've been feeling in the wake of what I see as relentless reminders of this country's breach in the social contract with us. I don't necessarily expect a response. I just wanted to express this. On May 8th, I jogged 2.23 miles for Ahmaud Arbery, letting my tears mix with the rain to a soundtrack of Tori Amos and Sweet Honey in the Rock. I felt enraged when I heard a white woman deliberately put Christian Cooper in harm's way so she could be a lazy pet owner. It reminded me of the story in which a white Yale student called in a suspicious Black woman sleeping in a dorm common area. That was me so many nights at Barnard. Then Breonna Taylor lost her life because police officers stormed into the wrong home to arrest a suspect who had already been apprehended. This might have been written off as an unfortunate clerical error had it not been publicized. And the most recent last straw was watching George Floyd die. That just broke me. I kept looking at the images, particularly the ones that were zoomed in, the ones in which George Floyd was not even in the frame. You would never know that the police officer, with his hands casually in his pockets, was in the midst of killing someone. All in all, I've been pretty lucky when it comes to racism, and that feels like the best I can hope for. I've only had one uncomfortable situation with police when I was pulled over with a young Black male passenger in my car for driving while Black. I've had to change vacation accommodations only once because upon arrival, I was not welcome in a New Orleans B&B that I had arranged by phone and paid for in full. And when I found a note on a Black graduate student applicant's folder during my second year in grad school that questioned her potential while linking it to my performance, I questioned my own competence, but I moved on. One of my oldest friends said on Facebook, "I am safe but not fine." She noted that for every video that surfaces, there are so many other injustices that go unnoticed. I think about all the lives that Arbery's killer must have ruined during his career as a police investigator. I'm enraged each time someone says that what happened to George Floyd was wrong, but the looting is just as bad. And when Blake and I started to feel hopeful at one of the early civic uprisings in Harrisburg, where voices of color were being lifted up, it was destroyed by riot police responding to a white agitator. Blake has told me openly and angrily about her anxiety and hopelessness as a Black student in Camp Hill. Yet these days, moving hasn't seemed like it would solve the problem, as even my friend in Brooklyn recently found a swastika painted on her building's entryway. We have been to several more BLM events, all of them peaceful, including a candlelight vigil and a unity rally, both in Camp Hill. Although Blake remains dubious, I have taken those as signs of hope that deliberate efforts toward change might actually be effective now. And to that end, on Tuesday, I went with 2 other residents of color to meet with the Camp Hill police chief to discuss the clear racial disparities that can be seen in their 2019 traffic stop documentation. And on September 14th, a few Black parents will meet with the school board's curriculum committee about teaching a comprehensive accounting of American history, as well as including the writings, art, and discoveries of so many diverse individuals who are not currently lauded in textbooks. I hope you will join me in bringing John Lewis's final words to fruition in whatever way that you can. He wrote, "When historians pick up their pens to write the story of the 21st century, let them say that it was our generation who laid down the heavy burdens of hate at last, and that peace finally triumphed over violence, aggression, and war. So I say to you, walk with the wind, brothers and sisters, and let the spirit of peace and the power of everlasting love be your guide." Meditation. 3, 2, 1. Today in this congregation, someone is hurting or in sorrow. Today in this congregation, someone is anxious because of events in the world. Today in this congregation, someone is lonely. Today in this congregation, someone is filled with joy and wants to celebrate. For all the fear and sorrow in the world today, there are still moments of joy. Hannah Belser wrote, "Some of you may remember Sharon and Tom Harold, regular attendees at our previous Market Street campus. Sharon is battling pancreatic cancer. She has had several rounds of chemotherapy this summer and will undergo surgery this month to remove the tumor. Please keep them in your prayers and well wishes." We have heard the words of the people who have placed their joy and sorrow before this community and before the holy. The words they have shared are words of love and trust. Love for those whose names have been spoken, and love for those who hear. Trust in the acceptance of this community, and trust in the continuity of life. When there is birth, life goes on. When there is death, life goes on. When there is joy, life goes on. When there is sorrow, life goes on. May we always live in trust and in love, that all joy might be shared and all sorrow comforted. This is our prayer. Amen. Blessed be.